Hi there and welcome back to Pronunciation with Paul. The title I've given this lesson is This Moose Knows His Nose. This moose knows his nose. I expect you can guess from the title that we're going to be talking about the letter S in English, which gives a lot of people some trouble. Should it be pronounced S or Z or Sh? There's so many ways in which the letter S is pronounced. This lesson is really inspired by the work I've been doing with a client of mine, a wonderful Brazilian actress by the name of Rebecca da Costa, who is at the beginning of a very, very promising career. She's about to play the lead in a film called Free Runner and has some very promising roles ahead of her in the movie industry. Being Brazilian, she speaks Portuguese as her first language, speaks Italian and Spanish also, but came to me so that I could prepare her to audition for roles in more English films. Films requiring American English, films requiring British English, and we're working very hard together on British English at the moment. And she had a lot of difficulty in our lessons knowing whether the S letter in a word should be S or Z. And I realized even more deeply working with Rebecca that people could use some help in this. So we're going to talk about This Moose Knows His Nose. It seems to me that when the S letter is at the beginning of a word or syllable, it's less of a difficulty. We know that see and sip and sort are always pronounced S, those kinds of words where the S precedes the vowel and is initial in the word or syllable. But it's when the S is at the end of the word or the syllable that it's ambiguous. And frequently there's really no good way of knowing whether it's pronounced S or Z. So let's talk about the letter S and the S and Z sounds. In English we have that pair of sounds. And let me tell you about the S, the S sound. It's fortis, which means strong. It's done with a lot of energy. And it's unvoiced, so there's no vibration here in the vocal cords. So it's a strong, unvoiced sound. Z, on the other hand, is usually what we call leanness or weak, and is voiced. Z, z. So we have S and Z. Let's take a couple of words, like this and these, this and these, or dos and hose. You can hear that there's a difference in the vowel length, and that's very significant indeed to the ear of the listener. So a word like dose, a dose of medicine. Dose, the vowel is short when it's followed by the unvoiced fortis consonant S, dose. But in the word hose, as in the garden hose, what you water the garden with, hose, not only is the Z sound weak and voiced, but it sort of doubles the length of the vowel. So we're listening not only to the question of strength or voice, but also the length of the vowel that comes before it in determining whether the speaker has said S or Z. Perhaps I should also mention the letter C, which is variably pronounced, but is never pronounced Z. So that's a one helpful rule. It really is hard to formulate a rule. And I've looked at other people's attempts to come up with codes, rules, laws that will help you know. And it really is difficult to come up with a rule. I've got a few little helpful hints. For instance, when the S letter occurs after a voiceless consonant, it's always s. So in these words, caps, kits, backs, lifes, as in life is, lifes, baths, etc. Because the p, t, k, f, those consonants I've chosen are voiceless, the S that follows is also voiceless. So caps, kits, backs, etc. If, however, the S occurs immediately after a voiced consonant, it's always pronounced Z, as in cabs, kids, bags, lives, bathes, etc. So that's not much of a rule, but it's perhaps helpful. When the S follows a vowel, that's when it's so variable. Compare these words when the S follows the vowel. In some words it's S, in some words it's Z. So we have words like is, has, was, ages, ogres, wives, these, those, possess, purses, but then we have hiss, mass, assume, passive, castle, this, mistake, purse, when we use the S sound. I think I'm correct in saying that if a double S occurs in a word and follows a vowel, then it's always pronounced S, unless, of course, it's a sh or j sound, as in mission, sure, sugar, etc. So in words like massive, lesson, losses, kissing, Passover, you can be pretty sure, almost 100% positive, I'm betting money on it, that it's a S sound. Let me know if you find any exceptions. So let's look at some words. I'll give you two series of words and I will pronounce them. And I'll leave a pause for you to repeat them, as we usually do. And please listen to whether it's strong and voiceless, fortis and voiceless, or weak, leanest and voiced, and listen to the vowel length right before the letter. And repeat, giving your best imitation of what you hear me do. So here we go. Here's the first series of words. Was, years, chase, us, chooses, synopsis, the singular, but synopses, plural. Loose, oasis, the singular, oases, plural. Lose, loses, purchase, moose, moose, what a cow does, a cow moos. Receives, those, these, this, horse, horses, showcase, showcases. My client Rebecca's nightmare word is knowing whether it's when the word this occurs in a sentence. This and these are difficult. This and these. And here's a second series of words where the S follows the vowel. Goose, gooses, geese, lease, leases, deceased. If someone's deceased, they died. My deceased uncle, deceased. But then we have the word disease. So, isn't English difficult? Deceased and disease. diseases, thesis, singular, theses, plural, hypothesis, singular, hypotheses, plural, series, policies, franchise, bases, and basis, Chinese, paradise, causes, accessories, that's a tough one, house, houses. I sometimes hear some American speakers say houses, but I don't think we're at that stage where that is considered by authorities to be correct. Houses, one house, two houses. So you see, it's very difficult to formulate a rule. Let's put some of these words into a few sentences. I've got 5 rather difficult sentences for you to practice this sound on. And I'll say the sentence and you'll see it on your screen, and then you repeat it. Here's the first one. This is a thesis. This is. These are theses. These are. You want to hear it again? Okay. This is a thesis. This is. These are theses. These are. Your turn. And the second one. This moose Elvis moos the blues. This moose Elvis moos the blues. And the third one. Whose 6 choices are those, Mrs. Moses? The word Mrs. is a hard word, isn't it? I believe I'm correct in saying it's descended from the Old English mistress and was gradually shortened and abbreviated in the spelling. So mistress became Mrs. The letter X, of course, contains the S sound too, doesn't it? A K and a S. 6. So that sentence once again. Whose 6 choices are those, Mrs. Moses? Now a sentence about dead fleas and diseases. These deceased fleas caused diseases. These deceased fleas caused diseases. And the last one. This Chinese goose hisses and chases those horses. This Chinese goose hisses and chases those horses. Well, I hope this has been helpful in at least alerting you to the fact that the letter S is variable in its pronunciation. And I've given you the classification of the two, of the S and the Z, and its effect on the length of a vowel that precedes it. So perhaps this has planted a few seeds and you'll be a little better equipped to predict how to pronounce words with the letter S in them. Thanks a lot. On to the next section of the lesson, which is a blog, and then finally to a quiz to test your new insight. Take care. See you next time.